Hello, and welcome to Spirit Among Us. This week we've been talking all about love, and specifically how love is defined in the 13th chapter of 1 Corinthians. We're going to continue looking at these verses today in 1 Corinthians 13, verses 4 and 5. Love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. Now today I want to look at the last part of these verses here, that love is not irritable or resentful. Starting with irritable is someone who gets agitated easily, someone who is quick-tempered or quick to anger. This is a person that you might need to be careful what you say around, or what you do, how you act. You might even need to feel like you're walking on eggshells around this person because you never know what's going to get them angry. You never know when they're going to get upset, when they're going to explode, because they're just an irritable person. They get angered easily. And now the second thing is resentful, that love is not resentful. What this means is someone being offended by something. Someone feeling like they've been wronged in some way or another, like someone else has sinned against them, and they are refusing to offer forgiveness. They are holding a grudge. They are feeling resentful, and they are completely unforgiving. So in our lives, we are called to be love, and love is not either of these things. And today, I want to look a little bit more closely at how God doesn't show either of these things. Starting in Psalm 103, verse 8. The Lord is merciful and gracious, slow to anger and abounding in steadfast love. So, we are called to be imitators of God, and our God is merciful, gracious, slow to anger, and abounding in love. Particularly, though, I want to look at slow to anger. He is not irritable. He isn't easily angered. And we can see some great examples of this. For one thing, we can look at the nation of Israel. Think about how many times Israel in the Old Testament betrayed God. Think of how many times they were led astray, they walked away, and they actively created and worshipped other gods, other idols. They turned from God time and time again. Yet whenever they did, God wouldn't just destroy them. He didn't just leave them behind and let go of them completely. He would give them a warning, and then he would give them a stronger warning, and then he would give them a very strong warning. And finally, if they still didn't turn back, he would let go and he would give them into their desires. He would say, fine, you can keep on sinning in that way. You can live in the destruction of that sin. Go ahead. And that's exactly what would happen. After being patient with them all that time, he would let them go, and they would find that destruction. They would face that pain, and then they would finally turn back to him and realize how much they needed him. That's one example of how patient God was. He didn't just turn from them right away. He didn't just let go of them right away. He gave them chance after chance. Another example we can see is in the story of creation with Adam and Eve. When they first sinned against God and broke his law, broke his commands, they were worthy of death. He would have been completely right in destroying them right there, annihilating them on the spot. But he didn't do that. He was slow to anger. He was patient with them, and he gave them a chance at redemption. So our God is by no means irritable. In fact, he is more slow to anger than anyone or anything else in the universe. And in the same way, we are also called to be slow to anger. So looking at the second part of this verse, it says that God is not resentful. So let's look at Luke chapter 23, verses 33 and 34. And when they came to the place that is called the Skull, there they crucified him and the criminals, one on his right and one on his left. And Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do, and they cast lots to divide his garments. I think this is the most dramatic example of Jesus offering forgiveness while he was here on this earth, not being resentful. Here they were, the Israelites. They were actively crucifying him. They were actively killing him, and he was literally dying. Yet he prayed for them. And not only did he pray for them, he prayed for their forgiveness. He offered his own forgiveness to them, even though they betrayed him in such a horrible way. Even though they were standing there mocking him and blaspheming his name, he still offered forgiveness, and he prayed for them. He showed absolutely no resentment. He did not hold a grudge against them, but immediately forgave them. And in this same way, we are called to forgive. So in our lives, being imitators of God and being imitators of his love, we are called to be slow to anger. And we are also called to offer forgiveness. So let us never forget that love is not irritable or resentful. Thank you for watching, and God bless.